Hey everyone, what if I told you it was possible to catch Gen 2 Pokemon in Gen 1? And if we caught them, what would happen if we tried to trade them into Silver? And if we did that, what would happen if we tried to use it on Pokemon Stadium? Let's test it out. So to start things off, I want to talk to you about how this is all possible, starting with an explanation of the Mew glitch. For those of you who have been in the game for a while, you probably already know what this is, since it's one of the most popular Gen 1 glitches. But for those of you that are new to the scene, here's an explanation. If you walk down the Nugget Bridge and make a left towards the grassy patch, you'll find a trainer hiding there. The goal is to basically get within a one-step distance between you and the trainer's sight radius. You take that first step, but you hit the pause button right before the trainer becomes alert. From there, you fly or teleport back to Cerulean City, head back up the Nugget Bridge, and then fight the trainer that has the Slowpoke. Once the battle is done, fly back into Cerulean and head up the Nugget Bridge one last time, and you're gonna get this weird message that says, "Ow, stomp flat." But once you cancel out of it, you'll be encountered with a Mew. So why does this happen in the first place? Putting it simply, when you pause and fly away from the trainer in the beginning of the glitch, this causes the game to believe that the player is starting a battle when they are actually not, causing various values to be read improperly and creating the core of the glitch. Now, once you defeat the youngster with the Slowpoke and start making your way up the Nugget Bridge again, the Mew you encountered actually appears because the special stat of the last fought Pokemon, Slowpoke, was 21, which also just happens to be the same index number for Mew. Now, the Mew glitch is actually an extension of another glitch known as the Trainer Fly glitch, which is what we're going to be utilizing in today's video, and it's the same principle as the Mew glitch. The way it works is, if we can perform the Mew glitch, which basically generates a Pokemon based off the special stat of the last fought Pokemon, then we should be able to encounter all 151 Pokemon in the game, as long as we can get into battles with Pokemon that have the needed special stats that match the corresponding index numbers. Now, if you take a look at this list, you'll notice that there's actually index values for Pokemon up to entry 190. This is most likely because they intended to have more than 151 in this game originally, but decided to scrap the ideas, which could be for a variety of reasons like time constraints and so on. With that being said, there are entries for Pokemon like Entei, Suicune, and Raikou as Missingno, but the only problem is that the entries are just garbage data, so it doesn't contain things like correct stats, special movesets, and typing, which you can see these are displayed as bird normal types. But even if we wanted to catch Suicune, for example, how would we get into a battle with a Pokemon with a special stat of 175? We need to fight a Ditto. Ditto can copy the stats of any Pokemon it comes into contact with, so this means all we have to do is have a Pokemon in our party with a special stat of 175, and we should be able to get the results we want and encounter a Suicune. Taking it one step further though, if we go above the 190 index, you can also see that there are additional Pokemon like the Gen 2 starters and their evolutions. The only problem is pretty much everything listed after 190 is kind of unstable and has the potential to crash your game or delete your save file, so if you attempt doing any of this, here's your disclaimer: you may lose any important save files while attempting this. Getting back to business, we're going to start off by performing the Trainer Fly glitch in this location on Route 8. You can see here that I went with Mewtwo, which has a special stat of 175. Now all we have to do is walk down and press start before we're spotted by the trainer. This may take you a few tries to get the timing down, but it's generally pretty easy to do. And after that happens, all we have to do is just fly over to Fuchsia City. Once you fly into town, you're going to notice that your start menu no longer pops up. This is what I mentioned earlier about your character basically being in a battle state that was never actually engaged. To get yourself out of it, we need to go into battle with a trainer. Pretty much anyone will do. One of the more popular ones though is just to fight this guy over here in the corner. Skipping ahead, once the trainer is defeated, you'll have access to the pause menu again, and we can continue on with the glitch. Just exit out through the right side of town and walk around in the patch of grass until we encounter a Ditto. This may take a few tries since you can't really control the outcome of the Pokemon. But once we have our Ditto, we're going to let him transform into the Pokemon with the special stat we want to copy, which in my case, it's Mewtwo. Now that your Pokemon is copied, you can either take it down or run away. But once you're done, you have to fly back into Lavender Town and head towards Route 8, kinda like the Mew glitch where you had to head back up the Nugget Bridge. Immediately on entering Route 8, your start menu will appear automatically, And once you cancel out of it, you'll be forced into an encounter with a Missingno. And if you squint your eyes just enough, it totally looks like a Suicune, right? Anyways, just capture it and make sure it can be stored in your party for now, because sending it directly to your box can cause it to become unstable. Also, don't forget to name it so you don't get confused later. So now we have our Pokemon, but this can't be traded to a different version just yet. The reason is because the game performs checks during the trading process, and it looks for things like your Pokemon being the correct typing, and that what you're trading isn't over level 100. So that's the next problem we need to fix. The Suicune type is still bird normal, and we need to change it to water. This can actually be done pretty easily using the 8F glitch. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's a product of arbitrary code execution. Arbitrary code execution, or ACE for short, is fundamentally caused whenever faulty code contains a jump instruction that causes the program counter to jump to a RAM location instead of ROM. Sources of arbitrary code execution can include various glitched items, moves, etc., whose effects are never intended by the developers and are thus faulty code by definition. Getting 8F is actually pretty simple. We need to have exactly 3 items in our bag containing these items in order. I'm going to be using an HP up, but for the first item, you can use whatever you'd like. The next item is 255 X specials, and a fossil, but you can use any item that you can give to someone, like a drink to the guards, for example. Now, in order to get 255 X specials, we're going to have to perform the duplication glitch. This is another popular one that most of you probably already know about, so I'll explain this part pretty quickly. You need to start off by performing the old man glitch, just by talking to the old man in Viridian. You know, the one that obnoxiously lays in the road. After he teaches you how to catch Pokemon in his little tutorial, and you go through that whole little animation, all you have to do is fly to Cinnabar Island and start surfing the water along the edge of the gym. Doing this will force an encounter with all sorts of Pokemon, which can range from levels up to 145, but you can also encounter Missingno. Now, when the Missingno inevitably shows up, all you have to do is run from the fight, and you'll notice that the 6th item in your item box has been duplicated with the max amount you can obtain being 255. But each time the glitch is performed, it will increase the item by 128. Since I had a quantity of 1 before I started, I now have 129. So in order for me to get 255, all we have to do is toss out 2, which will give us 127, and performing the glitch one more time will give us the 255. That's right, math. Now, getting back on topic with the 8F glitch, once we have the items needed, all we have to do is toss the top item. This will create a duplicate stack of the X specials, which we're also just going to keep tossing out until it doesn't allow us anymore. Basically just until the game's like, no, stop! You'll also notice that you won't have access to your item box really anymore and can't select anything or move up and down. This is where our item that we chose that we can give away comes into place. For me, I'm going to return to Cinnabar Island and go into the lab because I have a fossil that can be forcibly taken by the scientist. After you're all done with the scientist, you might notice that you have 255 spot locations in your item box now, and you'll be able to navigate around your bag again. And here's where things get a little weird. We're going to return to Celadon and head east until we reach the end of town. From here, we're going to open up our item box and toss 254 of the X specials in the first slot. This will leave a quantity of just 1 remaining, and what we're going to do with this is switch it with the 35th item in our bag. Basically, you're just going to go down until we find the nugget with a quantity of 1. You may have to go down for a little while, and if there's periods where you feel like you're not going down any further, just press the B button, and you can do this a couple times until you get to where you need to be. Once that nugget pops up, just swap it and close it out. Now, if we leave Celadon, you'll notice when we head down this way, it actually loops us right back into a glitched version of Celadon. If you check your item bag, you can see that with each step that you take, a different item will appear. We're going to do this a few times until we find 8F. Once 8F is found, we have to in turn swap 8F with the first item in our bag, which is now the Nugget 1 that we just did, and this will put the Nugget right back where it once was. Now all you have to do is fly back into town and store your item in the PC and save the game. But there's one more thing. Now our bag is still technically glitched. To return it to normal, all you have to do is just go to the store and buy any 3 items, and that should bring it back to normal. Now that we have this item, a lot of different things are possible, like changing the types of our Pokemon. The easiest way to think of this is to consider our Pokemon and the items in our bags as code, and the 8F item is what we use to execute that code, almost like a built-in Game Shark. To have the best control over the values in memory corresponding to the bag, heavy use of the item duplication glitch is needed. So now there's two sets of things that we're going to have to do to execute this. Using the duplication glitch that was mentioned earlier, you're going to need the following items in order. One item of any quantity, 8F, lemonades corresponding to the decimal of your Pokemon type, 156x accuracy, which corresponds to the first type of your Pokemon, but if you'd like to change your second type, you would need 155, or in other words, you'll have to execute the code twice with different values. 218 Carbos, 119 Pokeballs, and 201 of the fresh waters. Once you have all the needed items, you need specific Pokemon in your party. Right now, if I were to use the 8F item, it would execute a code based off the values of the Pokemon in our current party. So what we need to do is gather certain Pokemon that will redirect the code to use the items in our bag instead. So the Pokemon are listed as followed. In the first slot, specifically a Pidgey with 233 HP, which we'll go over in a second, and the remaining 4 Pokemon can have any stats, but they'll be a Parasect, an Onix, a Tentacool, and a Kangaskhan. Now there's 2 ways you can obtain a Pidgey with that kind of HP. You can either catch a Pidgey and spam rare candies to level it up as far as it will go and maybe use some HP ups and hope you get to where it needs to be, or you can use a variation of the Trainer Flag glitch to encounter a level 1 Pidgey. Let me explain. You would do the Trainer Flag glitch just as we did before, but this time you'll need a Pokemon with a special stat of 36 in your party in order to encounter Pidgey at the end. The only difference is this time when you encounter the Ditto that transforms, you'll need to use a Pokemon that knows Growl and use it on Ditto 6 times. I believe the way it works is each time you growl, it decreases the level of the encounter of the Pokemon we'll see later. If you noticed earlier, the Missingno that we captured was level 7, so if we growl 6 times, the Pidgey we find later should be level 1. After you're done with the Ditto, we need to fly over to Pewter City first, and we're going to talk to the guy that's beside the mart. He's going to tell us, hey, have you seen the museum? And you're going to be like, nah. And then he's going to be like, well, come on then. And he's going to take you there. This is going to initiate what is known as the trainer walk animation. Once it's done, it's just business as usual, and we'll return to Lavender Town and encounter the Pidgey. Obviously, a level 1 Pidgey is easy to catch, but the stats aren't 233 yet. What we're going to do here is toss at least 5 HP ups into the Pidgey. After that, we need to get into a battle, and when we win, we need to make sure Pidgey doesn't earn more than 54 XP. To do this, you can just bring out 3 or 4 of your Pokemon to share the XP and finish the fight. If you did it correctly, Pidgey should level up to level 100 instantly. Just make sure it doesn't evolve. Now, it is okay if you go a little over. For example, if you go higher than 233, all you have to do is just take a little damage, or you can get yourself poisoned and weaken yourself to 233. And that's it. I'm not going to lie to you, this was a very time-consuming process, so doing this might not be for everyone, but I'm still curious on the extent of how far we can go with this. But anyways, let's use 8F. For this to work, we have to make sure our Suicune that we caught earlier is in the first slot of the current box we're using. I singled mine out and put mine in box 7. Now with our Pokemon in order and the items we need in our bag, all we have to do is use 8F twice. Once with 156 accuracy, then again with 155. And it should be done now. Honestly, you're really not going to know it works until you test it. If you go and you look at the Pokemon stats right after, the typing will still show as it was before. However, the internals of the game knows that it's a water type. Let's try testing this out and see if we can trade this into silver. Alright, so I have the silver version in the Game Boy Color here, and the blue version in the SP. So let's just head over to the training center and get started. Alright, so we're actually in here, so that's a good thing. That means it passed some of the checks. One thing you might have noticed is that even though we renamed the Missingno, it is still in here as a Missingno on one side, but displays a Suicune on the other side. But hey, let's just send it over. And it worked! It even changed the Missingno sprite into Suicune sprite, and it even kept the glitch moveset, so now it knows Sky Attack. But you could always change the moveset too, I guess. But either way, it's still pretty cool that this process is even possible to begin with. But now, let's take this one step further. What would happen if we used our blue or silver version on Pokemon Stadium 2? But before we head there, let me show you a trick to gathering these Pokemon a little faster using 8F, so you don't have to rely on the Ditto glitch as much. If you keep the Pokemon in your party as is, but change your items in your bag to any item you want of any quantity, 8F, repels corresponding to the Pokemon of your choice's index number. For me, I'm going to go with 199 this time, and that corresponds to Feraligatr. 14 X speeds, 64 Ultra Balls, 72 TM05s, and 201 Lemonades. This is known as the Catch 'em All script, which will just give us the Pokemon of our choice without the need for an encounter or fight with a Ditto. This will help speed things up just a little bit, so let's head over to the N64 while I finish this up. Alright, so now that I have all the Gen 2 Pokemon that I wanted in my party, let's head over to the battle arena and see if these glitch Pokemon are even usable. And it looks like they retain their names and levels, but it looks like they all turned into Dittos. Yeah, it even changed their movesets all to transform, so these are officially Dittos in here. But okay, that was a bust, so now let's try Silver version and see if that Suicune works at all. Okay, I got Silver popped in here, so let's just check this out. Looks like we do have our Suicune, but I want to know if its moveset changed because it used to know Sky Attack. Oh yeah, it's still there. That's awesome. I totally want to see what this looks like in the fight. So let me just set up a team real fast and we'll head over to the battle and take a look at that. Then I'll probably start wrapping this video up. And right to the point, here you guys have it. Suicune literally turns into a Firebird and deletes the most ultimate level 2 Pidgey you've ever seen in your life. So I think I'm gonna end the video here. This took a long time to put together, so I hope you guys appreciate the outcome, and let me know in the comments what you'd like to see me cover next, and I'll see you guys next time. Adios.